Hello, good afternoon. Happy Monday, April 13th. So I just wanted to go over today's list. You guys, if you guys watch my morning segment on Tocker, I'm live 8:15 Monday through Friday. I go ahead and I walk through my watch list, and I also have a special treat for you guys. I also trade around the dark pools with Stephanie Camerman, and I am a teacher in the training pit, so I help people learn how to trade around the dark pools. So I've got some cool little tidbits, so stay tuned for those. So today, this is my list, right? I'm always looking for those really big stocks that have had the gaps for the day. They have the volume. They're going to have a big move throughout the day. And so one of them today was Gilead. Now, you might be saying, hey, Jane, that's great. That's awesome. Yes, Gilead was on a lot of people's watch list for today. But what is so important, I will walk you guys through the important levels to watch. And you can see right here, I had 75 as that support. If that support broke, that it was a potential short. And I've given you these levels for the bullish side or the bearish side. When you start to see that you have massive volume, just like look at this volume candlestick right here, right? When you start to see that there's big volume, many times that is followed by a big move, which goes hand in hand with the dark pool prints. So if anyone's out there and has any questions, I've got the chat up as well. So feel free to go ahead and put questions in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them for you as well. So you can see pre-market, we obviously didn't see any of this right here, right? We're setting it up and looking at it, and I'm going back to see, hey, look, 75 was really the support from the pre-market on Thursday. So what happened on Thursday? Well, boom, it dropped back down, right? Again, it bounced up. Was it confirmed that it was a breakout? There was this red day on Friday, a gap up, higher than normal volume. When we look at it on the daily, yes, it's been in a downtrend. We have these moving averages here. It did touch the 20 simple moving average on Friday and sell off. We were above it. But many, many times when there is a gap, you are going to see that that gap is getting filled. So when we looked at it again for today, let's bring it right here to today, right? So it filled that gap, right? It filled the gap down to the close. Let me pull it up over here so you guys can see it, right? So we went up and we came down and we pretty much filled that gap almost to close, not all the way, but I'd say about 80% of the way down. It went ahead and it closed that gap, right? So when you're looking at it and then you start to see this big, massive volume come in, hey, maybe that volume's going to take it up, right? You always want to pay attention to the volume, and you want to make sure that you are being nimble in trading, right? Try to lead the emotion, check the emotion at the door when you walk into your trading room, right? Because you don't know where it's going to go. Nobody has that crystal ball except for the algorithms. And there are many traders that use algorithms. Do these algorithms trade on emotion? No. They're trading on technical analysis, technical data, moving averages. They're trading off of pivot points even. When we turn on the pivot points, you're going to see, hey, maybe it went ahead. Look at that. Look at how close it came to the pivot point for the day, right? The pivot's down here at 73.69. It came 3 cents away, and then it bounced. So you have to put in all of these components. And if anybody wants to know more about trading around the dark pools, definitely come and check us out at the Training Pit or at the Java Pit. So I also had Square on my list. I do, I'll pull up the list so you guys can see it too. Let me see over here really quickly, and I'll show it to you guys so you guys can see it as well. So on my, if you guys follow me here on Tocker, you can get this list every day. available. And I walk you guys through it in the morning so you understand why. It's just taking a little while to pull it up. All right, so it should be opening momentarily. Here we go. So you can see how I have it broken down, right? I've got Gilead, 75 for support. What happened? It broke that. It dropped. Square, 57.90. Where do we go? 56.12, right? All my lines are gone, but here we go. So 57.90. Hey, if it broke that, then it was a short. Why did I pick that? Look way back here. There was a volume spike down here, 550, down at that level. So that was the lowest point of buying for the pre-market, right? So, hey, many times see that it's going to drop. If you're breaking that support and resistance from the pre-market, many times you will see that that stock or ETF is going to continue on. We also have Microsoft and Nike on here. Now, the reason why Microsoft and Nike are so important, when you start to put all of the components of the market together and you start to see patterns, you start to see that these big stocks that are major aspects of the indexes are having movement or having a large volume, you want to pay attention, right? So we've got Microsoft here. Microsoft was a potential short for me, right? Was it a short right off the bat? No. Look, it took until 11 o'clock. And we love to spell profits, or we love to spell patience with a Y because it pays you to wait, right? So if you'd followed it, some people want to short at the pivot on a daily chart. You know, there's some people that are just ingrained, hey, it's below the pivot, I'm going to go ahead and short it. Well, it tested the pivot today to the upside, but I wanted to give it more room because when you look back, let's look at a 45-minute chart. When you look back, look at how it just traded in this range, right? It traded in this range for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. When you start to see that a stock is trading sideways, what is that going to lead you to believe, right? Well, neither the buyers or the sellers are winning, right? You are going to be waiting for that confirmed move. And the longer that they hold it at that price range, the bigger the move will likely be. Because you're going to see that, hey, the buyers were winning here, they took it up a little bit. All right, and then the buyers and sellers just battled nothing. Oh, and then they took it up again. But you have to look at the psychological aspect of it as well. I was just teaching today about upgrades and downgrades in the training pit. And many new traders will get sucked into an upgrade or sell right into a downgrade. And you somewhat have to think, what is the purpose for these upgrades, right? If you wanted to sell hundreds of thousands of shares, what would you do? You might want to tell people that they should buy it, right? Because you have to find buyers. There's always another party on the other side of the trade. So you want to keep note of those upgrades and downgrades. You want to put them in your back pocket. Don't necessarily just trade solely on that information, right? And as much as we've seen this awful virus, which I pray that nobody here is affected by it, please be diligent with social distancing, washing your hands. It's the time to be that OCD germaphobe to protect yourself and your loved ones. But as much as we've seen what awful things have happened, why is the market bouncing 25%? You've got to understand what's the why behind it, right? I want to show you a really cool little slideshow that's going to probably make you really want to come and join us, right? So I'm going to go through quick. All right, so let's go back here. All right, so why you shouldn't really trade the news, right? If you are trading the news, what do reporters do? They report after the fact, right? So that means that the news has already happened. Are you ever going to be able to trade from the news? You're going to miss a large part of the move. Many of the big name headline companies that report on stocks are doing what? They're reporting after the fact. The move has happened, right? Well, you guys definitely just come check us out at the Training Pit or the Java Pit, and your mind will be blown. My mom is now a believer. The prints always come first. These really big traders want to go ahead and get their prints in before any news announcement has happened. So people say, yeah, you know, it'd be great to trade with inside information. Well, many of these people have that information that are laying those big prints. We don't need to have the inside information. You just follow those prints. Like upgrades, downgrades are fluff. The news is going to justify the move, all right? So is it too early to buy the Boeing bailout? Back March 19th, Boeing's going bankrupt, right? That was all the way back here. Look at what happened. It went up 100%. It was down at $90, and Boeing went up 100%. You start looking at headlines, right? Barron's. This was back December 24th of 2018. And they're saying, hey, the party's over for NASDAQ, right? It's the doom and gloom story. And then January 2020, why the stocks could not vault past this milestone, right? Well, what happened? Here we are back at December 18th. Doom and gloom, everybody sell. Right on up the hill. All right, what could go wrong? Hey, buy, buy, buy. This market anywhere, it's going to go and break new highs. Yep. And what happened afterwards? We started seeing all of these prints, right, coming in from the dark pool. 12.12 million in December 28th, 26 million December 26th, excuse me, December 18th. And we see them with Charles Schwab, right? So when you see these millions of prints coming in, look at this. You guys might have a hard time seeing it. But 1.6 million prints on the SPY. Well, that adds up to a lot of money, right? January 17th to 21st, over $16 billion. Now, as a retail trader, do you want to go ahead? I mean, do you have $16 billion in your back pocket to be trading all this information? No, right? I mean, likely if you guys are coming here, you're probably looking for an edge. Well, trading around these prints from the guys that have $16 billion, wouldn't you want to profit like them? Now, these guys usually aren't just looking for that little $1 move, right? That was January 17th and 21st. What happened, right? Boom, it dropped. Then March 2nd, the fear factor. The headlines are filled with fear. And then we saw more prints coming in, right? January 27th and 28th, we saw more and more prints coming in. So where did we go? Well, we bounced here, we bounced here, and history has shown us, right? We started seeing prints on all of the indexes. So you tell me, would you like to have this information? Would you like to know where these big guys are so you can follow them? Why possibly could we have gone up 25%? Well, we also have USO. This was an older one. HPQ. We have all these prints coming in, right? Uber had prints after the lockup period. Look at how long it just consolidated right there, right? What happened? It went up. When you have the CEO selling over 7 million shares and the price is going nowhere, there's a good chance that maybe there's going to be a big move. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the stock chart again because I was talking about upgrades and downgrades, right? That's just a little taste. If you guys are curious, you can come check us out at thedarkpools.com. And I teach, like I said, Mondays and Thursdays in the training pit, and you guys can learn all about the dark pool. It can only help you, in my opinion. And that's my opinion, right? So Caterpillar had a downgrade today, and we were looking at this, and sure enough, what's going on? Well, for this entire time, right, it had a downgrade. Remember, you have to think sometimes opposite. What's that psychological game that people are doing, right? Expand that out a little bit. So Caterpillar came back down. They dropped it down. And on our daily chart here, yeah, the daily chart, we're also hitting the 21 EMA, which sometimes will come and act as a support, right? So when you start to see that, and we've got this box right here, consolidation distribution, right? You guys can put alerts. Go ahead, put alerts. Are we going to close above 115? Let's go ahead and move it up even a little bit higher. 115.50 or down below 113, we'll say 113.50 down here. How long has it been? Let's go ahead and make this a 15-minute chart. Oops. So we've got 15, 30, 45, an hour, hour 15, hour and a half. Okay, it came up, but then they brought it right back down, hour and 45 minutes. 2 hours. We're into 2 hours and 15 minutes that it's trading sideways right here. Again, when you start to see that a stock is trading sideways, what do you want to do? Do you want to jump into it? My thought is it's going to be better to wait because you don't have a winner, right? It's a market, right? So there's a buyer and a seller. When there's more buying demand, basic supply and demand, that price should go up. When there's more sellers, less buyers, that price should drop. So while we're just sitting here and watching it, you can map out that projected move, right? We'll put it back on our daily chart here. So maybe they're going to take it right back up. They filled the gap here, right? They came down to this candlestick here. It's just below, but where's it also going to end up the end of day? Right? Let's go ahead. I'll set my alerts. Alert crossing up. And I do pardon the slow timing of everything. It's taking up a lot of bandwidth to run everything all at once, especially with the processing. This is TradingView. I absolutely love TradingView. Amazing software because as a mom of two, I'm not always in front of my computer, so I am still able to get alerts on my phone, and I love that. I love the ability to be able to see this, and it's the same chart on my phone, not like some brokers where it is just on the desktop or laptop, and then on the phone it's different. You get to see it the same on both. So we got that set up. Hey, for 2 hours today, they have just been holding it pretty much in this range, not taking it one way or the other. So where are we going to go from here? I don't know, but I know that all of this volume is likely somebody that's trying to get a position on, potentially in the dark pool. And we might see prints coming later in the day on Caterpillar. Now, it can be small. It can be 100,000. It could be 200,000. It could be 2 million, you know. But for a $114 stock, I'm going to take note of this. It's going sideways, just like with Microsoft, right? You're looking at Microsoft. Okay, for 4 days, Microsoft is the #1 holding in QQQ, right? Another great resource, if you guys don't already know about it, etfdatabase.com. Oops. Really? There we go. That's weird. So Etf Database, right? You can go and look at QQQ. And then right here, holdings. You can also do a reverse. You could look up the ticker and see what ETF sits in. But when I go and I click on holdings, right? Microsoft is 11.82%, 86%, excuse me. So we see Microsoft that was trading within the same range for 5 days almost. I meant to do that over here. For 5 days. So you want to be aware. You don't want to be blind when you're trading, right? You don't want to just have blinders on, trade just on a small time frame on a 5-minute chart over here. Oops, I keep doing that. I wanted this one. So we've got, again, the 5-day range. Where are we now? We're below it. That is the #1 holding in the QQQ ETF. So likely, as this is pulling down, we would expect that NASDAQ should also be pulling back at the same time. If we see that there's a major position that's being created on Microsoft, and we also have the Qs somewhat in the same chart area, we're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to be like little snipers hunting out in the field, but we're hunting for big volume, right? We had big volume, not that big there, but let's look at Microsoft again. When we're paying attention to the volume, of course, the biggest volume was way back at the bottom, right? There was a lot of volume here, and as it's been going up, oh, a bit more volume here. What happened? We hit this moving average. Here, we hit the 50 simple moving average, and we sold off even more, right? We're hovering right around this 50 simple moving average. Well, today we're finally breaking below it. We've broken below the range of the past 5 days. Is this the turnaround? Potentially. This could be the top of a potential downturn in the market that could go down, you know, to where the indexes are roughly 50%, like back in 2008. Am I saying that for sure? No, I'm not saying that for sure. I'm just saying there's a potential here because I've seen that there's been 5 days of volume, and now we're below all this volume. If you think of all that volume, hey, it's consolidated all right here, and it could go down. However, I'd like to see this gap fill to the downside here, 157, even more, right? And then we'd like to see all of the averages curling down. And it could come down and it could test the 200 simple moving average down here again at 149. Now, if that doesn't hold, yeah, I think it could get really, really ugly for the market. Pretty nasty. So again, guys, this is all my opinion. I used to have my Series 7. It was actually about 20 years ago. I was at Solomon Smith Barney, and I had my Series 7, and it was the first layoff of my life that took me away from the market, and the second layoff of my life brought me back. So if anybody out there that is struggling with being laid off, know that it can be a blessing in disguise sometimes. This can be your moment where you have that free time to also go ahead and see what is it that you really want to do in life. You know, during this quarantine time, try to use it for the better. Try to keep your mind occupied on things that will expand your brain and grow for yourself as a person. If that's trading, go ahead, do more research, do more studying about it. If you want to learn more about the dark pool, be happy to teach you guys more about that in the training pit. If you guys want to see me my watch list every morning, come and sign on to my Ticker Talker channel at 8:15. And if you just want my list, you can also get that too. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. If you guys ever have any questions, you can also email me at jane@cjanetrade.com. Always accessible, happy to help people. You know, I had little to no day trading experience when my first daughter was born, which is what brought me back to the day trading world. And since then, I've immersed myself in it and study it like crazy. I have a passion for it, and I would love to help you as well. So have a great week ahead. As I always say, carpe profit, one trade at a time, and trade with proper risk management. All right, guys, so have a great day. I hope to see you tomorrow morning at 8:15. Bye.
The risk of loss in trading commodity interests can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition, and considering whether to trade or to authorize someone else to trade for you. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.